The President of the United States has made a historic announcement that this is an historic president. I mean, here we have the first African-American president of a nation that was founded in slavery of African-Americans. And now that man has said that he believes that everybody, regardless not just of their race or their nationality or their religion, but also of their sexual orientation, everybody should have the right to get married. And I'm telling you, someday we're going to look back on this and go, duh. It's like today, you tell people, you know, I speak well of Dwight Eisenhower from time to time. You know, he kept a 91% top tax rate. He was in favor of Social Security. He was in favor of the right to unionize. In fact, unionization peaked during his administration. He did a lot of good things. He ended the Korean War. He ran on a platform in 1952 of vote for Eisenhower, vote for peace. And yet, throughout his presidency, discrimination, I mean, not just discrimination, segregation in the United States was not just legal, but actively and aggressively practiced, including in his administration. The times change. And the times are changing now, just like we look back on the era of Eisenhower, the 50s, and say, how could we have done that? How could we have had laws on the books in states all over this country? The last one was taken down in 1965 that said that if a black person and a white person want to get married, it's a crime in this state. The miscegenation laws. How could we have done that? And I'm telling you, there's a point where we're going to look back at this and we're going to say, okay, things have changed now. Gays are married, so what? You know, life has gone. Life goes on. I mean, it's not even life goes on. It's like now the human family is complete. Now our brother-in-law and sister-in-law, or aunt or cousin or uncle or you know, in one case I know of, a good friend, his father came out when he was, you know, when he became, I think he was like 18 or 19 or 20 years old when his dad came out and said, you know, hey, I'm gay. And mom's my best friend, but, you know, I really like Steve or whatever. But it had been from that era where it just wasn't allowed. So, you know, I think we're going to look back and go, how could we have done that to all those people all those years? How could we have, it's like you look at the pictures of the slaves, you know, with the whip marks across their backs, and compare that to right now, the statistic that the highest suicide rate in the United States is among gay teenagers. And someday we're going to look back at that and say, how could we have allowed that to happen? Dee in Naperville, Illinois. Hey, Dee, what's up?
Hi, Tom. I'm a Democrat, and in fact, I'm a Democratic election judge. And I did vote for Obama in last election, but I mean, this move today doesn't. It causes me some concern, and it makes me have some second thoughts about voting for him. But I don't like to vote for Romney either, because the Mormons just a couple, 2-3 generations back, including Romney's own family, believed in multiple wives. So apparently, you and I would agree about one thing. Marriage, as we've known it, is changing, and this is a day we'll look back on, but I don't know if we'll look back on it.
Why would you not vote for Obama? Because he came out in favor of marriage equality?
Because I do feel that marriage, the definition of marriage is for a man and a woman to join together. Other people can go join if they want, but that doesn't make it a marriage.
Well, by the definitions of many churches, you're right. And if you want to use a religious definition, I don't disagree with you at all. I think those churches will change over time. The several major denominations, the Lutherans, the Methodists, are changing right now. But that said, what scares you about gay people?
I didn't say that I was scared of gay people, and I'm not saying that I would totally be against civil unions, which they've already approved in Illinois. But marriage, by definition, is the idea of bringing a man and a woman together.
Well, yes, but up until 1965, it was bringing a black man and a black woman or a white man and a white woman together, but it was illegal to bring a black man or a woman and a white man or a woman together, opposite races. And, our definitions of marriage have changed repeatedly over the years.
Well, you have to go to in my mind, there's two functions to marriage. Biologically, it's for procreation. Emotionally, it's to bring together the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine. Now, if you're talking about it from economic point of view,
well, let's just address both of them.
But you can't have marriage because
let's address both of those for a second, Dee.
The male and the female together.
Okay, that's good enough. Are you suggesting that people who are sterile should not be allowed to get married?
Well,
or people who are past the age of child, when women hit menopause, should they lose their ability to get married? And if you want it to be yin and yang, I would submit to you that a lot of gay couples that I know really are yin and yang. I mean, it's Ellen talks about her wife. I mean, there are people play the more I don't know. I'm reluctant to even use male or
gender, roles that the woman will do the laundry or something like that.
I think
therefore Ellen would have a wife. That doesn't seem appropriate to me to call it her wife.
Well,
she might call it her spouse.
Shouldn't she have the right to do that?
Well,
if they both agree?
No, not exactly, because you're reinventing not only for this partner that she has what the role or what a wife is, but all the other people who are wives. You redefine them.
Well, let's talk about the definition of a wife then. This is from page 51 of my book on equal protection, if you want to reference on this, and that's all well footnoted. From the founding of this country in 1789 when the Constitution was passed until the 1920s in the United States, this was the law, okay? Just very straightforward. A married woman was not allowed to make out a will because she was not allowed to own land or legally control anything else worthy of willing to another person. 1. 2. Any property a woman brought into a marriage became her husband's at the moment of marriage and would revert to her only if he died and she did not remarry. But even then, she would get only 1/3 of her husband's property, and what third it was and how she could use it was determined by a male court-appointed executor who could supervise for the rest of her life, supervise her, or until she remarried, how she used the third of her husband's estate that she so-called inherited. 3, when a widow died, the executor could take the property for himself or decide to whom to pass the woman to. The woman had no say in the matter because she had no right to sign a will. Women could not sue in a court of law under the same. They could only sue in a court of law under the same weak procedures allowed for the mentally ill and for children, and their lawsuit had to be supervised by men. It was impossible in the United States of America for a married woman to have legal responsibility for her own children, control her own property, own slaves, buy or sell land, or even obtain an ordinary license. If a man of a family household died, the executor would decide who would raise the wife's children and in what religion. She had no right to make those decisions. That's how we defined wife from 1789 to 1925. Do you really want to go with the traditional definition?
Just not right. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. I think things change. I think times change. Dee, thank you for your call and for the respectful disagreement. I appreciate it. We'll be right back. 15 minutes past the hour.